You complete wanker.
What would a British person with
I
Tourette's
think it's
sound
more
like?
explosive with Tourette's, though, isn't it?
Do that again.
Wanker, 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 wanker.
Hey there! Welcome to Motorcycles and Misfits.
Those guys.
Coming to you from the Recycle Garage in sunny Santa Cruz, California!
That place.
That place.
It's actually sunny today.
Hey everyone, this is Liza and I am out of the COVID corner.
No, you're not.
Yeah. That certainly doesn't sound like it.
You're spreading your germs everywhere, Liza.
I am now in the cough drop microphone center.
You came out of the corner swinging earlier when you dick punched Mike.
Oh, you guys are so
That was
fabulous.
brutal. Me and McCarthy got nauseous just watching it.
Look, I just want to say for the record, yes, I do control the guys here with dick punches. However, and you know it's coming if it's coming, right?
Well,
Jeff?
you did, I think, warn him.
I give full warning.
It was a drive-by, too, on the Amigo. hey, Amigo, I got a little something for you. You got him in the big nut, too. I think that was the worst part.
He
Like,
was in
not the little
trouble,
one, but the
and
bigger
he knew,
one.
and I asked him in private, I'm like, do you want to just stand there and take it right now, or do you want to wait and not know when it's coming? And he opted for the not know when it's coming.
Yeah.
So I did the Amigo drive-by, and look.
The Amigo drive-by. It's like the Dirty Sanchez or something.
It is a just open hand, backhand flick.
Those can be the worst.
But did you notice she actually has a technique? Open hand, backhand, and a flip. This has been refined over time. Do not underestimate it.
Yes. But hey, and it works because every guy out in the garage all scurried away.
Yeah, it was just survival reflex.
And I'm
You
just
moved
saying,
away from the scene.
it's effective. I'm sorry.
Well,
but hey,
can we know what prompted this?
No.
Oh, come on.
He was in trouble. He was in trouble. He was in trouble for not coming to our 500th episode and telling me he wasn't coming. That's what it was.
Do you still have some Haribo in there?
But hey, let's get to who is here with me in the COVID corner. On the Classy Girl couch, it's everybody's favorite. It's Miss Emma.
Aloha, darlings. And as of yet, I am symptom-free, but I have no doubt. Because you and me, we went down to Togo's and got a sandwich, didn't we?
Yeah.
So I have no doubt at all
That
that
will do
I've got the Rona now. So, but it's lovely to be here tonight.
And joining you on the Classic Girl couch. And let me tell you, he was so excited because I think this is the first time the
I
couch
am
was
so honored.
offered.
Oh, my God.
To be able to sit on the couch with Emma we save it usually for special guests.
He's a special guest.
And this is the
Special.
first time he's made it to the couch. He's so excited. It's Ray Ray.
I know. I won't just dwell on the fact that it's just because nobody else is here, but whatever.
Nonsense, Ray. You are a special guest.
I feel special.
Special needs.
That is true. And let's see, going around the room. Festooned in bright orange, and for a reason.
Yes.
Which we'll get to. It's Scott.
Hey, Scott from Oakland, MC, welcoming back the California sun. It's so nice.
Yes.
Established 1907.
Yes.
Now, was that you, Scott, or Oakland MC? Or a combination of both?
We had an awards banquet last night, and the first woman in the club is celebrating 20 years of being a member. Her dad, 60 years of being a member, and her grandfather was a member too.
Wow.
There's reasons people stick around that place. We have fun.
Wow.
I always like the colors, too, that bright orange. It's very distinct.
It was started with Harley,
I like
and
the
now it
Oakland
could be
MC colors.
KTM or, you know.
Okay, but we're not done there. Because, of course, that is the sultry tones of Naked Jim.
All I really want are wings on my penis.
Is that like a tattoo?
Oh, my gosh. I think
Well-
that was a great tattoo.
No, because
awesome
I had
idea.
to pause. Of course, Liza gives tattoos with her fists. I've seen that.
and I was going to say, if Liza comes in with a dick punch, you can just fly away.
There we go.
Fly away.
I'm sorry. I don't know where that came from. These things pop into my head.
They do.
I'm just saying it is an extreme flaw in design.
It is an engineering
that
failure.
easy to fell a man. I'm just saying. But somebody who I think has never needed to be dick punched by me because he's just too nice. It's Bagel.
This is very true. Greetings, greetings from unusually sunny Oregon.
What?
So this is not why you moved to Oregon.
No, but I will take all the sun I can get.
Yeah, it is. It has been nice here. However, the mud is persisting. We know this because all the people who showed up on extremely muddy bikes who've been off adventuring the past week. Scotty came by, completely muddy bike.
Oh, so Scotty came by. I thought they had just come from Alaska.
Yeah, I know.
Just like loaded up, kind of just
Wow.
covered in mud. 650L.
And then I guess the bigger thing is Ellie, who went on her first adventure, who I think is a little bitter that Charlie invited her on this adventure, and she's never been riding on dirt and doesn't really have an actual adventure bike and didn't really know what they were getting into, and then got taken to a real muddy adventure with like water crossings and hillsides and stuff.
Right.
On their Versus with streetish tires.
Yeah, the lesson was never trust Charlie, because Charlie's the one that always says, "Oh, it'll be fine."
And you know what? I too trust Charlie. Charlie will stick with you.
Oh,
and
he
get
will,
you through.
no doubt. I didn't mean
And
it like
he's
that.
also, he knows what to do and instruct you. But I think it's one of those times where when you get somebody in a little bit deeper than they were ready for, and then it becomes a negative experience.
Oh, absolutely.
Well,
And she's like, I'm not sure that that's for me. It
Yeah,
obviously wasn't the right bike. She fell over tons of times,
Well, to
bent
put
a
it-
rim, cracked her cases.
And
like-
the thing is
Oh,
with
no.
and back to Charlie. Charlie is the neatest guy, but the problem is it's certainly Charlie would never do anything like that deliberately. But as we all know, Charlie is by far the greatest rider I have ever
he's
seen in my
fearless.
life.
I've been back there with him, and
He
he's
has
fearless.
just got this God-given talent of
Yeah.
riding a bike. So when he says it's going to be okay, that's a pretty high yardstick. For the rest of us mortals that are just kind of in orbit around him, it's like, oh shit.
Yeah, well, it was actually Ellie was telling me the story earlier, and this is like pretty hardcore stuff. So I give her huge kudos for toughing it out. So they ride out to New Idria, and that's no short ride. I mean, that's easily 2 or 3 hours to get out there, right? And it's beat up pavement for at least half of it. And then you get into the ghost town. Well, I guess they got there late, and they were going to camp. And I'm like, oh, so you came in the Clear Creek side on the north end because there's a campground right outside the gate. And they're like, no, we came in through New Idria, the ghost town. And I'm like, there's somewhere to camp there? She was like, no, it got late. They got up by the ghost town. And if you've ever been there, it's pretty freaky, right? It kind of gives you the creeps. And they just had to poach camp right there. And I could not imagine like getting into New Idria late at the ghost town where there's like shit spray paint on the buildings where we're watching you and stuff like that. And they like set up camp there. And there people that live there are kind of wackadoo too. So that's a pretty hard.
Wait.
It was a heavy experience.
There's people who live at Idria.
So right outside there's families because those are all big ranches. And because a trials guy I ran into out of the middle of nowhere out there, I just started talking with him. And he's like, don't ever park your stuff in this area or that area of your truck because you could come back and your tires will be slashed. And he goes, for the most part, they're people that are cool, but don't push your luck with the families that live right outside the gates, so to speak. Because you're out there too. I mean, you're literally 2 hours from
Absolutely.
like Hollister or somewhere like
And
that.
the biggest issue I've always had with going out to Idria is I'd never had the fuel capacity to actually go out there.
Yep.
Because it's basically 60 miles in, 60 miles out.
Yeah, it's a ways because you can't. When me and Liza were there last time, we got stuck at the gate. We were past the point of no return. We could not return the way we came and have enough gas. So fuel's a big issue. But
Right, because the closest is in Tres Pinos.
Yeah, be Tres Pinos. Yeah, or you can actually go to Highway 5. That's how far out there you are.
Wow.
Yeah, there's one legit water crossing that way. And I was telling Ellie, it is stunningly beautiful. We're kind of getting the weeds on this, but if you go down Pinocchi Road, don't go to New Idria, keep going straight. It turns into the most beautiful. It's graded dirt roads, and it's just like rolling hills, jackrabbits, trains, cows. It's just gorgeous. But the next thing you know, you're like, what's that gas station? It's Highway 5. But that was the start of their trip. And then I guess they went in and, the roads are kind of jacked up there on a good day, right? In Clear Creek. And I can imagine with all the rain, it had to be brutal. But kudos to Ellie for toughing it out and taking that Versus with street tires.
and I think that's the difference too. I mean, like I said, Charlie won't leave you behind. He'll get you to the end.
Oh, yeah. I didn't mean it like that.
But as Ellie was saying, like there were like hills that were too steep, and we had to all get together and push each bike up one at a time. They wouldn't
Yeah.
ride up. And I don't think she was prepared for that kind of.
It is a bummer she
adventure
kind of beat up
riding.
the
And
bike.
and it is
because the
the-
bike was clean.
Yes, and it is the wrong bike
Oh, totally.
by any stretch of the
Yeah.
imagination.
No, she shouldn't
It's
have been
wrong.
back there at all. Even in the summertime, it would be a sketchy bike to take. But anyway, it's cool back there.
Yes, so yeah, she was.
So kudos to her, though. That's real biker shit right there. There was so much
know.
mud. I'm like, where did you go? There's just mud washing off the bike.
Everywhere.
Anyway, good.
Well, and I was asking Scotty about going down there. I'm like, here's what I understand. It was an active dirt bike park that got shut down because of, I think, asbestos or
I think it's
mercury. I've heard different
arsenic or
stories
mercury. I think it's
something.
mercury.
I've heard different stories, right? Shut down. So you have this existing park with paths and roads and
It's supposed to be
and signs
possibly
and
the
everything.
best dirt biking, like in the country, if not the world.
But you can get a permit for $5 a day and go get the code and go in there. But it's like, well, how is that any different than just paying the ranger at the station?
Yeah.
It's kind of weird, but I think it's like all bets are off. It isn't maintained. You're on your own.
Yeah.
We'll see how,
And it was
Good luck,
a dirt
you know?
bike park, but it's not been maintained. So people ride back there all the time. But it's like two-stroke riding. It's huge hills, loose shale. But you can also go right off a cliff.
Well, and here's the
again,
thing.
you're like 2 hours from anywhere.
Here's the thing. Charlie's a good rider, and we've all been on adventures like that. But, for poor Ellie, she's like, these people are crazy who do this kind of riding, right?
Yeah.
Do the mud and do that. This is crazy. Much like people who do long distance riding, like, the kind of length of rides that you're like, you must be crazy, right? Mm-hmm. There's all different types of people doing stuff that other people just think is crazy. But I wanted to talk to some friends of ours and find out just how crazy they are really, because they just did something really, really crazy. And in fact, they're here with us now. We got Wendy, Crockett, and Ian McPhee. Hi guys, can you hear us?
Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Wendy. Nothing from Ian. Can you hear us, darling?
No, he cannot hear us.
Nothing.
Nothing. He's going to work on that.
I can see him though.
I'll have you know, we just spent like an hour holding his hand through this process to make sure everything works flawlessly.
Maybe he's muted then.
I want his face to turn into the
That's right.
cat.
Yep.
Well, I think the best thing is if we just keep talking and he'll see if he can sort it out, because you guys have been making the news a lot. You guys just did something really crazy. And in fact, you set a world record, a Guinness World Record. Like, that's official shit,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Wendy, you've been on our show before for doing something crazy, but not as crazy as this. So you are a long distance rider. You're an iron butter. Do the iron butters call it iron butters or just the non butters?
It works. Iron butter works for me.
Okay. Ian, are you back with us yet?
He's still.
I hope so.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, Ian.
Yeah, so
That does me every day. I flat out turn the lights on and off, and they give me a laptop to operate. And oh my God, this is going to go badly.
Fantastic. Well done.
So I wanted to thank you guys for calling in, because we have so many questions. First of all, Wendy, you look. Are you ready for a gala? You look all gussied up.
I know my hair is
Oh,
down.
gee.
I actually the temperature here in South Dakota got up to like 45 degrees today. So I'm like, hell yeah, great weather. So I actually just got back from a nice long ride. So I just didn't have
jealous.
time to braid my hair.
No,
That's
you
what
look
it is.
good. And Ian, you sound
Yeah.
different. Where are you?
Well, I'm Queensland, Australia. Mate.
Ah,
So,
hello,
about
mate.
halfway up the coast, the east coast. And,
Okay.
I live at the end of a long road with a few hills and not many people around me.
Now, you should be forewarned, Ian, that Americans are absolutely obsessed with telling Australians to put another shrimp on the barbie.
We won't
So-
do that. We won't do that.
So just be aware of it ahead of time. And, I don't think Liza will be able to help herself. So just so you know.
No.
right.
We will not.
I'll let you know we don't do that as a habit.
I'm sure not.
It's okay. We won't do that. But I wanted to have you guys in because you guys, as I said, you just set this record, and it involved long distance. In fact, Explain. Why don't you tell everyone exactly what the record is? Because I know you do a lot of writing, but what is the official title for this record?
So the official title is longest distance ridden by motorcycle in a single country by a team.
All right. And for the single, I know years ago, we had Danelle Lynn on here. She had the title as an individual. So the team, this is a new category. It hasn't been done before?
Nobody's ever done it before.
Great. And had you guys ridden together before? Did you know each other from Iron Butts?
No.
Oh, oh my God.
We had actually crossed paths. We've ridden in several Iron Butt rallies at the same time, but we had never had occasion to really talk to each other until like the beginning of 2019. We were standing in line for the buffet next to each other, and we shared 5 sentences and then wished each other well. And then it just happened that he and I had really long stretches. There was a lot of thread bonuses in 2019 rally, and he and I happened to be going for several of these very long bonuses where there was not time to deviate, and you had to get every single thing in these threads. So we just happened to end up on the road together, sitting, waiting for sunrise to get the first bonus, and then hauling up the road to get the rest of them. And it was like, we didn't have comms or anything, and we were both riding very old bikes that just happened to have like identical fuel range, and we had comfortable keeping the same speeds, and both of us were kind of ready for naps at the same time. And then we rode as long as our plans coincided, and then we were like, okay, well, see ya. That was fun. And good.
So I just had a quick question. So does that make Wendy your nemesis?
No. It makes her my
Right answer. Yeah.
I mean, she won the 2019 Ironman rally.
Well, that rally set a few records, and obviously Wendy winning it was the biggest record of all that was broken that year. But it was a rally on its own. Jeff Earls is a rally master with the difference, and I guess if you've never ridden a rally or done even car rallies, or there's push bike rallies and all sorts of things out there. If you've never had the fun of joining in a rally, then you need to go and try one, because they are a lot of fun. And Jeff's method this particular year broke a lot of people's planning. So he set a lot of records in that respect as well.
Well, I'm going to take that answer as a yes.
Yeah, I said yes, he's a nemesis, and he said no, not a nemesis.
So I'm going to go back. So I'm very interested about how you two met and the circumstances. You're based in South Dakota, so you're already in America. Ian, what drew you to America to ride? Was it solely for the iron butt? Because if ever a country was designed to do an iron butt, Australia would be that country.
Except you can only go in circles.
Yeah. Well, we've got some roads, so you can go up and down and east and west as well as round and around. But so what happened was I knew about the Iron Butt Association in 1985. I wanted to ride the rally since 1985. But obviously, life gets in the way. And I was a young guy and I had all sorts of other competing priorities at the time. Anyway, kind of from like the mid-90s onwards, I was working internationally, working all over the world, doing all sorts of interesting stuff. And anyway, long story short, ended up back in Africa in 2011, and I signed up for the rally for 13. Anyway, so I hopped on a plane, went over, bought a bike, went back to Africa, started work, and then for the next 5 years, I was just backwards and forwards every few months or every year, riding this BMW and participating in rallies. I rode the Iron Butt Rally 4 times. I rode the Team Strange series of Butt Light rallies 4 times. Rode a few other smaller ones. Jumped up to Europe, rode a couple up there over the years. Had a lot of fun. But anyway, so this 2019, when Wendy and I hooked up, like Wendy said, we'd had a few sentences in the buffet. And then we met. We kind of solidified our hookup at a ferry loading dock at like 3 o'clock one morning. Wendy was asleep on the concrete, and I turned up. All I could see was like this lump on the ground beside the bike, and it's a rally rider. So I turned all my lights off, turned my engine off, laid down the concrete, went out like a dead man. And then about 2 hours later, some bloke with a F something truck with a 5-inch exhaust and a doof coming out of it woke us up because he turned it all on. So I'm looking at her and she's looking at me and I'm going, hello. She says hello. And then we discovered we were riding the same roads. That was fine, but we had to take the same ferries as well. So we really were tight at the handlebar for like 36 hours there or whatever it was.
Yeah, it was a ferry in British Columbia, and there was a lot of people had gotten these this circuit of bonuses going clockwise, but we were doing it counterclockwise, which if you did everything just absolutely precisely, you could do it in like half the time that it took to do the other direction. But there was there was one way to make everything work. Right. So it's while we're sitting there comparing plans, and you're not allowed to like if it turns out that you're going to be sharing the road with another rider for more than 24 hours, you need to call the rally master and let them know that you're not going to be a team. And so we're comparing very loose notes because I don't want to tell him I'm not going to show my hands. Right. And he doesn't want to show his cards. So we kind of realize in this circumstance that we are going to be doing all these same bonuses. We have to call the rally master and let them know that we're not a team. So I called the rally master and I said, hey, Lisa, me and Ian are sitting here. We're getting ready to get on the ferry at Horseshoe Bay, and we're not a team. And I'll punch him in the face if you need me to prove that we're not a team because we can't break up. And then immediately after I hung up the phone, I'm like, a terrible freaking thing to say. Like, what if this guy thinks I'm a maniac for threatening to punch him in the face? But it turns out that he likes my sense of humor of like threatening physical harm. And then we got along splendidly. So from there on out.
That sounds like we were talking about before you joined the call.
yeah, we do that here. Yeah. So, and Wendy, since
it's Lisa.
Yeah, I know. Since you were last on our show in 2019, you also didn't you do a special trip with your daughter?
Yeah, we were actually on our way to South America in my sidecar rig when the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
So we literally crossed into Mexico on March 15th, 2020. And that was as far as we made it. So we ended up staying down there with some friends, and it was a really good, mutually beneficial situation. President and vice president of the Iron Butt Rally in Mexico, obviously with everything closed down for the pandemic, they weren't seeing a lot of action, and we didn't have any place that we would rather be. So it turned out great. And then as things started opening up, we got to ride a lot of good rallies down there and had all sorts of great adventures. So,
and how long were you on the road with your daughter?
Almost 2 years.
Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
And I just, was she like doing school in the sidecar?
Yeah. So we were doing,
that's cool. Awesome.
Cool mom award.
And she's gone back to normal school this year or last year. And the teacher hit me up at one point. She's like, Tess is telling all of these fantastical stories, and like, we don't know what's true or not, but it's coming from a lady who said, she's never been further away from Rapid City than Denver. So it just absolutely blew her mind that Montesa has been in, half the states and all through Mexico and has had all sorts of adventures already, just way out of her scope of experience.
Right. So we know that you're a long distance rider, and we know that you're an adventurer who gets big ideas. So my question is, which of the two of you had this crazy idea?
Well, it started with me.
Okay.
So, it took a lot of beer to get it as big as 83,000 miles, but it started with
just before you go too sideways. Ian did a saddle sore, which is a 1,000-mile day on a empty 350 Harley Davidson in Zambia. So he is not a stranger to wild ideas.
Yeah.
He does them all low key is the thing. So he has had many wild ideas. He has executed many wild ideas. This is just the biggest. Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
Where was I?
So this was your idea, huh?
So what happened was, in Australia in 2009, I did a ride that's never been done before. You might be surprised to know that. I did over 3,000 kilometres in under 24 hours up in one of our states called the Northern Territory, which is basically big, long, straight roads and an 2-mile-an-hour road limit. So it took us a year to plan it. It took 3 of us a year to plan it. There's a lot of animals up there. It's like running into the side of a car if you hit any of these things, because they're big and they're hard and they hurt. And so we planned it really carefully, as much around animal movement as anything. Anyway, in the middle of that ride, I'm riding along. What can I do in Australia? Because you've got to remember, at this point, I had never been to America. What can I do next in Australia that's going to be fun? So I said, I'll ride the states in alphabetical order. Anyway, fast forward a couple of years, and then nothing happened with it. Right, it got put on the back burner like a lot of other plans, and some of these things never ever come to fruition. Anyway, fast forward a couple of years, I'm back in Africa working away over there, my job over there, backwards and forwards to America, and I got into America to ride Butt Light 6 Team Strange Rally. It was a 6-day, 6,000-mile rally.
Oh,
and about 2/3
appetizer.
Exactly. It was the warm up. It was the warm up for the Iron Butt Rally.
Mm-hmm.
So the following year. So here I am riding down the road, like day 4. I've had a good idea. The Capitals ride in America. Oh yeah, because at that point I really thought I only had 2 years in Africa, and that was going to be my limit. Basically, the end of my international traveling for work. Anyway, Africa turned into 5 and a bit years, but anyway, that's another story. Anyway, so here we are, rolling down the road. I thought, oh yeah, when I get back to Africa, I'm going to get in the Google Maps. I'm going to plot this out and just see how far it is, because I actually didn't have any clue. So, end of 2012, I'm tapping away at the keyboard, tapping the capitals, the American states, into Google Maps, and writing down the coordinates and writing down the miles and da-da-da-da-da. I come up with 63,000 miles. I thought, well,
wow,
that'll do for a ride.
Wow.
Anyway, so then it just sat as an Excel file for years. Anyway, then 2019 happened. Wendy and I met on a ferry ramp in the dark, as you do, and we had so much fun on that rally. We got into some place, I can't remember where we were, my BMW.
Oh no!
We lost it.
Oh no! Okay, well, while he's coming back, here I want to ask a question. I want to repeat this idea of writing to all the states in alphabetical order.
Oh, he's back.
Jim. Can you name
Yeah,
the first 4 states on their list?
Okay, Alabama, Alaska,
Arizona,
Boston, and
Emma,
Cleveland.
don't help.
Atlanta.
So, Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas.
I was born in Arkansas. That's terrible.
Arkansas doesn't end with a W. It ends with an S. That confused me for a very long time.
Or Kansas.
It's Arkansas.
It's like Edinburgh.
Now, there's no B states, are there? Are there B states?
No, Emma keeps trying to think of the B states.
So
There's no B, there's no Q, there's no
But
S, there's no Z.
that comes in later.
This is where the plan got diabolical, and I'll let Wendy take it over.
Oh.
Diabolical.
So Ian calls me up one day and he's like, so I had this idea and I want to share with you. And I'm like, well, that sounds ridiculous. Let's do it. That sounds great. So this was, probably late 2019. So shortly after we started kind of tossing this around and trying to figure out how this would work and what would it look like, the pandemic hit. So that gave both of us a lot of time on our hands to come up with ridiculous ways to make this more difficult. So
you got no idea some of the shit we come up with.
So we were looking at, just for interest's sake, what this record would entail. What would a Guinness record entail?
Mm-hmm.
And there was no team that had held the record, but the our benchmark was based on the existing individual record, which at the time was 116,000 kilometers.
Yeah.
And so we're like, cool, well, that's not much difference. We'll just add a little bit on the edge there, fill it out. So we have those letters that are not represented in the alphabetical list of states, being Z, E, H, Q,
B.
So
one more.
G.
No, George is there.
I feel like I'm on
No, no,
National
I know.
Public Radio, and
I know.
it's a show. This is great. This is awesome.
So we took those letters. We found the smallest towns with a name that started with those letters that still had something that identified them, like they had a post office or a sign or something. Like we're driving around Street View trying to find towns with a population of 2 that has a sign that we could document our visit. And we like as far apart as we could come up with, and then we plotted them out backwards. So we started at Z in Zumbro Falls, and then we did Yale, and then we did
was in
Xenia.
there.
Yeah.
Ohio,
and then,
yeah.
Oh my god.
Yep. So Quilcene Bay, and So by the time we were done doing all of that stupidity, it came out to 80,000 miles and change. So then we were like, I have a buddy, Dave Barr. I don't know if you guys have heard of him. He is rad. He is a double amputee who held a world record for riding his bike around the world, including all the way across China in the 80s. He did this on a Sportster. So Dave was a friend of mine, just like neighbor down the road where I lived in California. And his world record was 83,000 miles. So we were like,
Wow.
The town that he lives in starts with a B. That makes it our last town. What if we add some more miles on, make it 83,000 miles? We'll match Dave Miles. We'll meet Dave at his house. I'll get to introduce Ian to Dave. Everybody will happy. It'll be like confetti, and there'll be doves flying around, and it's going to be perfect. And so that's how that all came. It made a lot more sense with all the beer that we were drinking at the time.
So my 63,000 miles, we tacked on 20,000 and then just pin back the ears and give up.
Well, and I wanted to take a second to talk about your choice of steeds.
Yes.
Let me ask Scott, because I don't know if you're familiar with their bikes. What would you say if you were going to set out to do this epic trip like this? What bike are you choosing? Are you going to go down and buy a new bike, I assume?
This is all road miles?
Road miles?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what's
less,
the ultimate bike?
I know you say I'm boring for it, but I like my GSA or something like that.
That's what I was going to say.
What'd you get?
Yeah.
Huge
like
tank,
a brand-
comfortable, good
like-
wind protection, hot grips, luggage.
What if I told you that Ian rides a BMW, a 23-year-old BMW?
Okay.
They're built to last. So
I had an 81 R65, so,
Yeah, I mean,
competent.
a 23-year-old BMW would not be my first choice for long distance riding.
Super simple to
Wendy's
fix.
bike is not that much newer. What is yours, like a 16-year-old bike?
Yep, 2005.
Yeah. So they're not new bikes. How many, before you started this trip, how many miles did you have on each of your bikes?
So I have a stable of 2005 FJRs because they are the perfect bike.
Yeah, it did
and
say.
I love them. And I've spent so much time and effort making it the perfect bike that I just keep going and buying more 2005 FJRs. I started looking for another one because my original had 300,000 miles on it. And I started keeping an eye out for another one so I could take all of my long distance stuff and just plug it onto a new bike. Well, then it's like lost puppies, right? Like you find one and then there's like 9 more in the wings. I'm like, I need all of you. So I have 6 Gen 1 FJRs right now. But the one, the one that I did this ride on, because it wasn't smart to head out on a bike with 300,000 miles on it, Ian. And so I started out with one that had like 18,000 miles on it. It has like 106,000 miles today.
Okay.
So,
Wow. But so that's kind of like how my grandfather, it took me years to realize as a kid that he just kept getting new dogs but kept calling him Lady. And I thought he had it's a really old dog. He would get a new hunting dog every couple years, and I just thought it was the same dog. So that's
let
the
me tell
trick.
you, quick aside, my uncle, who was awesome, he had like a XR 250, ladies, and my aunt knew nothing about bikes, was like, we have a red motorcycle in the garage. And when the Mike Halewood replica bikes came out that you had to like get on and order at midnight on the year 2000, whatever, he bought a Mike Halewood replica, and he rolled out the XR and he rolled in the Halewood, and all my aunt knew is that there was still a red bike in the garage. And that's kind of, that's how I'm doing it. I roll one blue FJR out and roll the next one in behind it.
So what? So Ian, oh, look at that! Look at that!
Ooh.
Halewood rep.
Nice. So Ian, how big is your fleet of R1100 RTs?
I have the remains of 2.
The remains of 2. Now, I too had an R1100 RT, and it was a very comfortable bike.
Yeah,
it was that
robust.
seafoam green.
Yep.
Glacier green, I think they call
Yeah,
it.
glacier green.
Glacier green. Yeah. Yep.
It had, though, can I tell you, it had a sad story. It had a really sad story. So I bought it used from a dealer with like, I don't know, 30,000 miles on it, which is no big deal, right? Because this is my first real, like, well, I had an older K bike, but I wanted to get a nice newer bike. And took it for its first trip down into the Panhandle in Florida. This is just from Georgia, so it wasn't far. And I saw some smoke coming out, and saw some oil dripping out. I thought, oh, I must have sprung a leak somewhere. But I was in the Panhandle where no civilization, no phone reception. So I thought, well, best thing to do is just stick it into 4th gear, ride about 30 miles an hour. So the engine is running very slow until I get back to civilization, which I did. And then I finally got a tow truck and then a rental car, and I got it home and I took it back to the shop. I'd only had it about 2 weeks, and they informed me I had killed the engine because the oil sight glass blew out.
Oh yeah, that's a known problem. Yeah.
And this was not a acknowledged problem from BMW. And my 2-week-old used bike now had a dead engine that I had to pay for a brand new engine. So my R1100 RT actually was an 1150, but that was my sad story. And I'd bought it for a cross-country trip that I then couldn't take it on. I had to take my old K bike. Anyway, but I still loved it. That was such a great bike because you can ride it. I could go right up into the hills with everyone on their sport bikes and really ride it nimbly.
Yep.
Or I could hop on and go do an iron butt, which I did an iron butt on it. What an amazing bike.
But, they're great bikes.
But watch out for this oil sight glass.
They stop and they steer, and they've got good ergonomics. And, for a boxer, they've got reasonable power.
But I'm wondering if Wendy thought maybe it wasn't such a good idea for you to take that bike.
Wendy, the alien one, said, do you think you want to get an FJR? I literally had like 10. I kid you not, probably 10 FJRs offered to me. Well, we borrow this. I can't borrow that. We're going to put 80,000 miles on your bike. I can't do that to you.
Wendy, that's what John Ryan rode, right? In iron butts. He'd do these urban iron butts on FJR. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, and you know what, Ian, I'm going to side with you. It would make too much sense to have identical bikes that could share parts and tools. That takes away the challenge. And you guys love a good challenge.
Love a good challenge.
The backside of that story is, by this time, I've been riding this bike for 10 years. And it has been ridden. The only time I put a leg over it is to go and ride it in the heat of a rally, right? It is flogging them hard. It never, ever once missed a beat. I never even blew a headlight bulb, right? That's how much trouble it never, ever gave me. So I was, in my mind, quite rightly justified in saying, I maintain the hell out of this thing. I do things to my BMW to maintain it. The most normal riders are going to go twitch, twitch. I'm not paying for that. Well, I was paying for it because I didn't want a problem in the middle of a rally, right? So when I went to the extent of paying, and Wendy can probably explain it better than I can, but this one killed me to pieces. I spent $3,000 getting my transmission rebuilt before the IBR. And that transmission turned out, we didn't know it at the time, to be 90% of our problems on the road. We just didn't know it at the time. So anyway, I've got this bike that I've got full confidence in. I've ridden, I don't even know how many miles of road on. Anyway, so here we are, starting this ride. I've got full confidence in it, and we have nothing but problems with it from day one. And I'm lost like, come on, I've had 10 years with you. You've not given me a hiccup. I've put just untold amounts of effort into making you sure you're reliable. And it was the things that you don't touch because they never fail that started failing. Like
Can I ask what kind of transmission problems you had?
Total grenade. A total grenade.
Now,
Ouch.
I want to kind of paint a picture because we're kind of setting up like you guys are just crazy going out on these old bikes.
Oh yeah.
Now, I want to side with you, and that there's a bit of information maybe not everybody knows. If you were to do a trip like this on an older bike,
Yes.
with higher mileage,
Yes.
you better have a mechanic with you.
Yes.
In fact, how many mechanics did you have with you too?
We had two.
That's right.
100% mechanic saturation.
You guys are both mechanics.
So, you, Ian, you work for somebody or have your own shop?
I've had both at various points, but my work history is I started off in the 80s as an apprentice in a little tiny country town in New South Wales, fixing tractors, working on tractors,
Right.
farm machinery. I went from that to working on the biggest mining gear in northwest Western Australia, which is very, very, very hot, like 50 degrees Celsius hot.
Oh, sure.
And worked on the biggest mining gear the world had at the time. And then when we moved to Queensland, I started bouncing around the world working on mines and in volcanoes and drilling for bloody oil and gas and exploration gold drilling and all sorts of stuff, but always as a mechanic. Now, in these third world countries, when you're trying to get stuff fixed and there is nothing immediately available,
You improvise.
you improvise.
Right, and you, I think you guys are qualified enough. You could probably fix anything with baling
And,
wire and a bottle cap.
And
So
just hang on. And Wendy, now we share something in common because you have your own shop, don't you? As do I.
Yep.
Nice.
Right.
Yep. I don't have it up and running at this point. Yes, but we've up until we closed up to do the traveling with my daughter.
Yes.
I'd had my own shop for 14 years.
well,
That's actually the very first place I met Wendy, because one of the bonuses on a rally we were on was take a photo
Yes.
of Montesa, and I'm thinking Montesa's a motorbike race because I didn't know, and I didn't know where did you live? You lived in Kern River Valley.
Yeah.
I didn't know that Cyclesmiths was Wendy and Mike and Montesa, the daughter. I thought Montesa, I was going to find a bike shop with a motorcycle and it's called Montesa.
So he rolls up and I walk out to hand him the baby and he goes, "That's cute. Get it out of my face. I need the bike."
At the time, Montesa's about that tall. I'm going, I'm not picking that thing up, mate.
that's awesome. Well, I have to assume that in all these miles, and we're going to start getting. I know there's a lot of stories, breakdowns, and all that stuff, but I assume that you guys had to do a lot of maintenance. And as mechanics, and it sounds like you have a lot of experience with your bikes, you knew exactly what to do. Well, guess what? It's game time.
We're going to do a
game
quiz
for you. But here's the thing: we know you know your bikes. We want to see how well you know the other person's bikes. So we've come up with a quiz. We've come up with a quiz called Maintenance Intervals. Oh boy! So we're going to see how well you know what the maintenance intervals are on each other's bikes. Emma, take it away.
Okay. So let's start with Wendy. Wendy, what is the scheduled spark plug replacement interval for Ian's BMW?
I'm going to say 12,000 kilometers.
We're going by miles. Sorry, we're
No.
using miles.
Oh, we're going by miles.
That's in miles.
Is this in miles?
That is in miles. It says in miles in the top left-hand corner.
Does it really?
Yeah.
In the top left-hand
Oh,
corner.
yeah, it does.
Say in miles.
In miles.
Now, you're British, so you can convert. What is that in metric?
12,000 kilometers.
Okay.
About
Sorry,
8,000
I put it in.
miles,
I had it in kilometers. I'm like, none of our listeners will know what it means.
We'll say 10,000 miles.
Okay, so how did she do?
You know what? You got it right, but the wrong denomination. It's 12,000 miles.
All right.
This is according to
Really?
the manual.
Yeah.
And I know as mechanics
Yeah,
and
you're right.
as long distance riders, you probably have your own schedule that you've come up with. But I looked up the manuals for your bikes.
So, yeah, this is straight out of the workshop manual. Genuine Yamaha in your case, Wendy. Genuine BMW in your case, Ian.
All right.
So, Ian, same question for you. What is the scheduled spark plug replacement for an FJR 1300 2005
Oh, the American version in miles.
in miles? Or you can... Australia runs on kilometres, so you can give it me in
Correct.
kilometres and I'll just work it out in my head.
All right. I reckon that FJRs are probably going to run at about 10,000 miles.
Also incorrect.
Ooh.
I would think Japanese. It's going to be
Longer.
Ian, you
you'd
had
think.
time to
a lot
Google
more
it.
interval than a BMW.
Got more?
I tend to run by the Wendy Crockett
Yeah.
workshop manual.
Yeah.
The Wendy Crockett workshop manual says that spark plugs are iridium and they get changed every 100,000 miles worth.
Yes.
Yeah.
According to Yamaha, and this sounds really heavy to me, but you know, it's funny, a lot
Yeah.
of Yamahas are heavy on their plugs, 8,000 miles.
Really?
But that's the standard plug. And of course, Wendy is quite right, the iridium plugs tend to last forever.
So put that in perspective, right? The average rider on an iron butt rally, when they leave home, go ride the rally, go home again, is going to do in excess of 10,000 miles.
Yes.
And no one has a spark plug fall off. So
Yes.
Good point.
So we're going to come to an area that is going to cause a lot of grinding of teeth and chafing for Wendy, and you're just going to rub your hands together because it's the easiest thing in the world. So, Wendy, what is the... Where did I see it? The valve clearance interval for a 2000 BMW R1100. 10-minute job. 10-minute job.
Give or take.
Give or take.
Yeah, on this ride we
Mainly
did it every service, which again was about every 12,000 miles. I'm going to go with that.
Well, you know, BMW actually say 6,000 miles. But,
really?
you know, and
Yeah.
the thing is, this is straight out of the book. And I think for the riding you're doing, 12,000 miles sounds absolutely spot on for me. Now, but this is where there's the teeth grinding, because checking and adjusting the valves on an FJR 1300 is not a 10-minute job.
Nope.
It's more of an
Oh,
old...
and he disappears.
he did.
He's Googling it.
No, he's back. So,
He should know this one too, because
All
I
right.
gloated so many times about it.
well, yes, you did, but it takes all day, Wendy. You know, it's
that
not
it does.
It's not a 5-minute job, is it? So,
Nope.
same question for you, Ian. What is the valve clearance interval for a 2005 Yamaha FJR 1300 in blue?
45,000 miles.
Wouldn't it be good if it was 26?
That's not. That's,
There you
Yeah.
go.
that's close
So
enough.
now I'm
It
interested.
doesn't matter what the answer is, you've got to say it with conviction and it.
Yes, well, no, exactly.
Let's do one more for them.
No, we're going to do one more.
Okay.
We're going to do
Pick a
one
good
more,
one.
which is an interesting one.
Obviously, they suck at this.
No, they don't.
No. They know
Hey,
their
mate.
bikes better.
Hey, mate, we're mechanics, right? Who ever read a bloody owner's manual?
And I've got to be
RTFM.
I'm going to be absolutely straight with you. I've got my own motorcycle shop, and I've got lots of workshop manuals, and they all sit in the corner getting cobwebs on them, because when you get that thing on the ramp, you know, it's real seat of your pants stuff. Yeah, workshop manuals are great for torque settings and stuff like that, but you know, at the end of the day, and it's same you were saying with your machinery, you know, you've really got to improvise sometimes. So let's do final gear oil. Both of these bikes, shaft drive bikes, of course. And yeah, I mean, there is a difference. It's not huge. So, Wendy, what is the mileage for the shaft drive, the final drive oil change on a BMW?
I think I'm freaking embarrassed because I'm a BMW tech and I've done enough of these. I'm just,
How many times did you do mine?
I'm going to say, yeah. I'm going to say 6,000 miles.
Actually, BMW say 24,000.
Yeah.
Which is
Jesus.
quite wild, isn't it? So same
Yeah.
question for you, Ian. FJR 1300 2005. Final drive gear oil change.
Given how unreliable those things are, I'd be changing it every 6.
16.
Oh, what? Really?
But now, in your defense, because I said, I beat them. When you're out there on the road, the use you're putting these bikes to is very, very unique. It's a lot of very, very constant throttle openings, constant RPM. So you can really stretch those service intervals.
Constant temperature.
Yes.
Constant temperature, right? Things aren't getting hot and cold. These bikes got hot and just stayed hot for 3
Right,
months.
exactly, because cold start ruins engines.
Exactly.
It's the old adage, 80% of the wear in an engine
I think
happens
all
with
the
a cold
intervals
start.
are right after you buy it and then never again.
Well, that certainly saves you some money in the short term.
Well, so that brings. I would like to know what schedules did you guys develop for your bikes to keep them going on the road?
So what we did is we set up a service location in the center of the country. It was in
can we back
Odell,
up?
Illinois.
Can we back up a sec?
Yeah.
Wendy, I've said this before, he glosses over how much of the planning was done by her in country with her intimate knowledge of your country. So when she says we, it's like a Royal Victorian. I was just here in Australia going, oh, all right, mate, yeah, yeah, that's cool. I'm good. So continue with the we.
Yeah, so we're looking at the map and trying to find locations that we are passing through a lot that are pretty reasonable, that we are passing through with some measure of regularity that makes it worth making it a service location. And that we found Odell, Illinois, which is about midway in the state, kind of south of Chicago, about 100 miles. And it just so happens that we were passing in or near it a whole stack of times.
Interesting.
So, yeah, we worked everything out so that we were servicing the bikes roughly every 14 to 16,000 miles.
Okay.
Which is a lot to go, but we're running synthetic oil, and nobody was supposed to be burning out clutches or anything, Ian. So we, at every 16,000 miles, we're doing everything. We're doing front tires, we're doing.
But you say 14 to 16,000 miles, but in time frames, is that what, 2-3 weeks?
It was about 12 days. Yeah, give or take.
Oh my God.
Wow.
So every 12 days, we're doing engine oil, filter, final drive oil, inspecting Ian's valves, taking a look at his alternator belt, air filters, like anything that we could reasonably get into and tighten down, make sure that everything's going to be going well. Both of us did dark side tires in the rear.
Oh,
really?
interesting.
That is
varying
interesting.
success.
Yeah,
And the big part of why we went dark side, because neither of us had ever done that before, was so that we could stretch out our service intervals to make that 14 to 15,000 mile ish range work.
How did you find the handling?
Yeah.
It was better than I expected it to be. But I have a bike tire back on my bike now.
Yes,
it was really good for what we needed it to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was the perfect thing to do for a ride where you're just sitting out there droning up the interstate. Well, I have to say, in all of the months that we rode around America, I never once got bored on the interstate. Not once.
Aw.
We got some nice twisties and stuff in there too here and there.
We did. But the car tire was just the perfect thing to do for what we were doing.
So how many miles were you getting on each tire? About.
So both of us have the same size front tire, and we ran Dunlop Road Smart 4s, and those things were freaking phenomenal.
They were just out of this world.
So a couple of times, due to various catastrophes that kind of screwed things up, there was like twice we had to change them out on the road. All the rest of them, every single one of those front tires that came off on our scheduled services came home with me. They all have several thousand miles left on them. So
Wow.
really, really impressed with how those worked.
Yeah.
On my rear car tire, I was getting about 5,000 a piece, 27,000 a piece, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ian was getting about half that. So
my rim is a really odd rim. We were limited to one tire, and it was not a touring tire. It was more of a sports tire.
I'm curious, Wendy, when you guys said you set up a location, is this like a mechanic shop you had a relationship with? Is it like a roll-up garage? Is it a dirt lot? Like what do you mean?
If you didn't
Back of an
before, you
Arby's.
did now.
Yeah.
it was a storage unit.
Yeah, okay. I
So
could totally see
I-
that.
Makes sense.
I was calling around to all of these, and I was looking like a 300-mile radius. It didn't really matter where we were, but I was trying to find something that had power, which we couldn't find, but also find something that had 24 access, that was super cheap, that was long enough to, park all of the trailer and everything in there in between services, and that nobody would get mad if we were like low key ripping bikes apart every few weeks in there. So it ended up being perfect. There was we were centrally located enough to source parts when we needed something that we didn't have on hand. But the vast majority of the stuff, every single service item that was foreseeable, we had stocked in that storage, with the idea being that we could pull up any time of the day or night. We knock out, we spend 8 hours servicing both bikes completely and swapping out tires. I brought my tire machine, the manual machine, and then everything just get back away in storage, and off we go.
So as we now know, all right, lots of planning and preparation. These are two people who are mechanics. They can handle anything. They've done long distance riding. So what could go wrong?
What could possibly go wrong?
That's my question.
Is that before we put the side stand up for the first time, or after we put it down for the last time?
What could go wrong? So what went wrong that you weren't prepared for or expected?
Well, in the planning, we had planned. So because we both had confidence and faith in the reliability of our bikes, we actually didn't plan for any major failures. We both got our
that's not
suspension
true.
rebuilt.
We brought a spare final drive for your bike. We brought a spare drive shaft. We had reasonable expectations for what was going to be.
True. Okay. But we were changing them ahead of a failure. So we were planning maintenance. So we didn't actually plan for any failures. We planned a final drive change and a drive shaft change because we know they're a bit of a weak point. So we were going to swap them out ahead of time, so we didn't have any downtime on the road.
All right.
Well,
so what could go wrong?
Exactly. At that point, what could go wrong? We were planned. We were experienced with these bikes. We knew how well these things did and didn't run. We knew that we could ride them at 85 miles an hour, or 90 miles an hour, or 75 miles an hour all day, depending where we were, and we knew how they'd handle. We both got our suspensions rebuilt front and back. We did everything we could to these bikes to make sure we had no problems. And that worked right up until about day 2.
Easy.
Well, not even that. So we started the ride in Australia, and we were doing the alphabetical ride in Australia as well. And that went sideways in an entirely different kind of way. But that was more because we had 2 options in Australia, because gas stations are not generally open 24 hours, and they're really spread out. So in order to make all of that timing work, to be able to catch open gas stations and be able to keep making progress, we had 2 options. One of them was that we could do this at a pace that would guarantee success, but we would not be doing it at an iron butt pace, or we could do it at a pace, that was nearly unachievable. Exactly. But if we could pull it off, we would be doing it at an iron butt pace. And we had so much shit go wrong, including I hit a kangaroo.
What?
So, yes.
So here we are. We're riding down the road at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and Wendy's behind me. And I'm keeping an eye on the mirror because I didn't want to lose her in the dark. Anyway, so here we were, and all of a sudden we were around the corner, and the road went dark. I thought, oh, damn, how long since she was there? So I did a U-turn. You sometimes you're not quite, you don't always keep an eye on what's going on behind you, and you should be. Anyway, so I did a U-turn. I went down the road about a minute, and literally there was the headlights stopped in the road. The bike was vertical. There's the bike standing up on the road. I pulled up beside him, how you going? I hit a root, but I'm okay. I fell over, but I'm okay. I picked the bike up, but I'm okay. I'm okay, mate. Well, when you hit your first kangaroo, it's really special moment. I'll tell you.
There's a whole ceremony.
It's like a really big raccoon.
It's like a christening or something. Huh?
Really big raccoon.
I'll tell you what.
So I remember. Years ago I was driving in Australia, and they've got these wombats, and wombats move kind of slow. And the trouble is, a wombat, when it sees the headlights of the car, it kind of sticks its head down and sticks its butt up. And wombats have got these really big, hard butts. And if you hit one of those things, you're off. Yeah, they're like concrete.
Like a block of concrete. They've got photos on the internet of road trains with the front axles, the steering axles, under the drive axles because they hit a wombat.
Yeah, and a wombat's not a massive thing. I mean, they're chunky. It's like the size of a pit bull, a big one.
Oh, big ones.
I'm seeing Ray right now.
I was going to say, I'm feeling targeted here.
So you hit a roo, but you were okay. The bike's okay.
Yeah, it was pretty decent. But the reason Ian lost track of me is because he took off. There was two of them. One of them was the one I hit, and I had come almost to a full and complete stop, but I hadn't downshifted fast enough. So I think if I had been in first gear, I would have been able to like launch off his ass and, continued on my way is how that's how it plays out in my head. But I couldn't power out of it at that point. And then his stupid friend is like running into the side of me. And
what you didn't see is after that had happened, they gave each other a high five at the side of the road. Right. Good on you, mate. You got her off. And then they go into the darkness.
So the theory when you're running into a roo is there's actually a practical theory on how you hit a roo on a motorbike. And obviously you don't hit these things head on. But if you happen to have like a glancing blow, the idea is to have the brakes on really, really hard, get your speed as low as you can get it, and then right before you hit them, you let the brakes off.
Okay.
For all of your listeners at home, that's how you hit a roo.
That generally works. You just bounce off it then and keep going. If we want to
back up a half a step further, when things went wrong on this ride, so I had everything planned to leave South Dakota on whatever the day was, March 28th or whatever. Well, a couple of days before that, everyone in my house got norovirus. And they were like, we have 4 people here and we have 2 bathrooms. You need to get out. Like, we love you, but leave before, leave while the leaving's good. So I really quickly, a little ahead of schedule, kind of packed everything up because I have an open trailer. I was planning on driving straight through to Illinois. So stuff wasn't like secured for overnight parking or anything. So I'm rapidly just packing up the trailer. And when it's packed up, I take off, and I made it 70 miles from home, and I hit a deer and totaled my car. In 70 miles from home. And I've never hit anything big enough to cause any damage. Everything I've always hit, I could eat in one sitting. And I totaled my car. So my husband had to come out, who was violently ill, drive his truck out, wait for the tow truck. We swapped everything that I'd carefully packed in the cars, just being hurled into the other truck. Swapped everything out. He rode with the tow truck with my car back to South Dakota. That's how quickly things went. 70 miles. That's how far we made it. So anyways, Australia happens. That is a whole nother batch of stories of everything that went wrong there. That was so sideways. And it was like historic rainstorms and, all of this flooding and nonsense. We had a wonderful time. And so
we saw an exploding cow.
We saw an exploding cow.
What?
That was great.
Okay, do tell. You can't just leave that one aside.
I think I can guess. That's a cow that's been dead long enough that it's like an exploding whale. We were on our way up to Darwin in the Northern Territories, and we see this thing, and it's vibrating. It's so bloated. And we're like, that is only a matter of time. Yep. And we came down about 30 hours later, and it was just
Oh.
I can see Liza poking it with a stick. You just leave it alone.
The juice.
See, pictures
doing
like
the
that,
Dirty
except
Harry.
with dead boars.
Get up.
I heard there. So there were. Okay, you worked out some of the kinks in Australia, but so by the time you get to the States,
Well,
you should
no,
have it all worked out?
Back up
No?
again. Another half a step
Oh no.
to the part where we get to the United States,
Okay.
because we have everything packed. We're supposed to fly back May 17th from leave Australia, fly to the United States. Everything's good. We have everything packed. We've done our COVID tests. Everything is ready to go. We're like 10 hours before we have to be at the airport. And I get worst friggin' pain in all of the history of the world. And it turns out that I had kidney stones. Never had kidney stones before.
No.
Not once. I have to go to the hospital. The wait in the hospital is hours and hours and hours. The biggest kidney stone that you can generally pass unassisted is about 3 millimeters. Mine was 12 millimeters.
What? Oh my God!
Wow.
Yes.
And she's got one in each kidney.
Oh,
One in each.
Oh.
Never had kidney stones before.
Stay
Right
hydrated.
before we have to get on the plane.
That's
So-
worse than a dick punch, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. It
Yeah.
lasts a lot longer.
Oh, yeah.
Ridiculous. So I'm sitting here going, okay, great. Give me some pain meds. And, because I got a plane to catch. And they're like, no, this is like emergency surgery time. It's lodged in there. Everything's getting backed up. Like, you need to be in surgery ASAP. And I'm like, no, thank you. I would like to be on a plane. I have a motorcycle ride to do. Like, that is not happening. So it was so close because I was the one with the emergency. It was no problem to reschedule everything. But Ian couldn't change his flight because it wasn't his emergency. So there we go.
You
a few hours
fake
later,
a kidney stone, man.
I did. That's what I told him.
Can't you go to the workshop and make a kidney stone and stick it in there? Yeah.
I think for guys, the in-flight defueling is a little easier.
Oh gosh.
I tell you what. Well, we ended up, we had so much stuff go wrong about crosspath rides, and we actually came up with a phrase that's all in all of our bad luck, we have the best of good luck. And Wendy's kidney stone was the perfect example. I mean, what would have happened if we'd have been halfway between Brisbane and LA and she got knocked over, right? This was life-threatening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was a disruption like you've never been disrupted. But it was like, well, God damn, how lucky are we that it happened while we're in Brisbane, not at 30,000 feet with 18 hours, with 7 hours to go. It was.
So how long have happened a week earlier?
How long did this set you back?
So Ian got on the plane as scheduled. I was in the hospital for a week.
Wow.
And so I had my flight delayed by 10 days. And another big issue is we were doing all of this when Australia was still closed due to the pandemic. And so we just said, you know what? We're tired of waiting. We're just going to start making plans, and we're going to hope the world opens up. So we were like, what would be fun? Let's make my flight for April Fool's Day. And that's what I did. So, a lot of these plans we made before Australia opened up. So as soon as Australia opened up, Ian tried to get a 6-month visa. And this was in probably February when things started opening up. He immediately applied for a 6-month visa, and it was like a 10-month wait for the interview. So he only could get a 90-day visa. So now we have the problem that Ian's in the US and I'm not. And we have 90 days to do. We have 90 days to do an 83,000 mile ride, and now his clock is ticking.
Okay. I want to pause a second. This record, and for people who've set this record, is usually done within a year, right? The most amount of miles traveled in a year.
There's no time limit.
It's just a continuous ride. But you guys are matching what like Danelle did in a year in how many months? 4? 3?
Well, 90 days.
We did her record.
Oh my God.
Yeah, her record was 40 some odd thousand. Yeah. So our plan was to match her record in 8 weeks, 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. All right. So now
which was technically possible.
So animal strike emergency surgery done. So far, Wendy's the problem, not Ian, as we would expect. But I'm guessing that maybe Ian didn't have as much luck either. Ian, what could possibly go wrong with your old BMW?
Well,
Let's start.
Ian-
how well does
so
that
it's
machine
done
go?
well. It's
So
done
Ian's
well.
on his
It's
way
done
to
well.
Alaska alone at this
Yeah.
point, right? Because that's what we figured had to happen. Is Ian had to go onto Alaska by himself to make use of this time. And what I would go once I got to the U.S., I would go to Arkansas.
Right, lucky.
I would meet him in Alabama, and then I would meet
Montgomery,
him
Alabama.
in Canada, and then we would pick up the rest of the ride from there.
Yeah.
So I would be doing the lower 48 states, and he would have Alaska. Is the best way we could come up with to make this work.
The portion
So,
riding in Canada, that doesn't count towards the record?
Doesn't
right?
count.
Doesn't count.
No.
You got to go
Don't
to
count.
Alaska, but it doesn't count. Okay.
So Ian,
Yep.
you
The
shipped the
miles
bike.
from Canada, yeah.
So you
Hey?
shipped the bike from Australia to Alaska. Is that what you did?
No, I've had bikes on most continents. So I've got the
there's
BMW
the
in
other
America. The BMW in America is a bike I bought in Minnesota in 2012. And it's lived there its whole life. So my Australian bikes, obviously, I ride here. My American bike, I fly over, hook up the battery, and off I go.
Okay.
And African bikes, the same thing. Yeah.
So, hey, Emma, these RTs, they're
Yes.
pretty solid, well-built bikes.
Yes, generally, very well
What
built.
kind of incident would it take to, say, crack a frame?
Well, the trouble is with the design of that bike is there's a lot of components that are kind of integral with the frame, which means that if your engine mounts come loose, theoretically you could crack a frame. If you hit the front end hard enough, theoretically you could crack a frame.
I'm guessing that Ian knows the answer. Ian, what's it take to crack a frame on a BMW?
Hot hole that is big enough to swallow you, your car, your motorbike, and the trailer.
Wow.
I thought for sure it was a kangaroo.
Where did it crack?
It broke on both sides at where the bosses bolt to the transmission.
Oh,
Like,
so
straight
and that
Yeah,
doesn't
it
surprise
just-
me. So the engine kind of obviously the momentum of the engine pivoted back and cracked it. So when the back wheel hit, it kind of sent a shockwave.
Wendy put it really, really well. All she saw was sparks, and then the spark stopped, and then the spark started, and then the spark stopped, and then she got overtaken by a pannier, and then the spark started.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
So we've got it pulled up on the side of the road. It's 1 o'clock in the morning, mind you. We're on some interstate. I don't even know which one it was now. And I could see this big bulbous lump running up the road. What the hell is that? And then I worked out Wendy had picked up my pannier, and she's sprinting up the freeway with my pannier. She's left the FJR on the side of the highway down there, like, oh, it mightn't have been a quarter of a mile. It was a decent run, and here she is. And so because we had the comms hooked up, all I could hear was.
So, what do you do? I mean, you can't ride, right? Was it just cracked, or was it broken?
Well, we had a look at it, and because the footboards hadn't completely shed in half, we decided we'd ride them slowly. So we did like 1,600 miles back to Odell.
Oh,
Yeah.
What?
We decided we wouldn't exceed the speed limit until about 10 seconds later. We got to the speed limit, said screw that, and we went back to riding at what the speed we normally rode at. It was a bit wobbly, but we were good.
But we didn't realize immediately the extent of the damage, because one, it was dark, and two, it was hidden by plastics.
Yeah.
So, but I'm looking at his bike going, your center stand is super low, man. Like, you're scraping when you
Is the
man.
bike
hit
starting a
once, like, this
taco? Is that what's happening?
And so, like, as backing up again just a step, Ian's when he went to Alaska on his own, there was a ferocious storm and the bike got blown over, and it caused a lot of damage at that time that kind of had everything kind of tweaked, and it wasn't quite sitting right, and we hadn't had a chance to fix it, in its entirety. And so I'm looking at that going, is that bad from before, or is that just like worse now? So we went and slept on the ground in a truck stop that night, I remember. And then probably 6 hours later in the daylight, I'm like, it's really off. And he's like, yeah, honestly, it feels off. I think we should assess, and maybe we were going to be kind of passing. We were like in the rough perimeter of Odell. And he's like, I think we might need to detour between New Mexico and New York to Odell. So we pulled over at a gas station just to assess, and we're like, yeah, it looks kind of busted in. So we'll detour back there, see about getting it fixed. We'll behave ourselves, we'll do the speed limit. And we did not do the speed limit.
Is there any duct tape or zip ties being used at this point?
No, because just like it was, what we did is normally I lead. And in this case, right, she'll be right, mate. We let Ian lead so that when the frame cracked in half, then I could run sweep to keep the big rigs off. That's how we addressed that problem.
Good plan, solid plan.
But yeah, we didn't. It wasn't until we got to Odell and we actually ripped all the bodywork and stuff off that we were going, whoosh.
It was being held together by the plastics, or what?
No, it was
being held together by the bloody sideboards, the footboards. One footboard was holding it together. The right was broken through in 3 places. It was the left foot peg mount. Wow. Yeah, we were like, you were one enthusiastic sneeze away from dying. So this was July 3rd, which was a Sunday, right before the 4th of July holiday, that we pulled this apart on a Sunday morning, going, what the hell are we going to do now? We need a TIG welder. This isn't just small repairs.
Wait, what state was this in?
Illinois.
This was
so we can figure out where on the where they were. What letter?
Yeah,
I?
No. We were on our way from New Mexico to New York.
Okay,
and we detoured
me for just 1 minute. I've had something banging outside. I got to sort out.
It must be a roo. All right,
it must be a roo. So
dingo
seeking revenge.
We start
with those boxes.
We start calling around going, we're going to lose so much time. We've already lost time at this point. We've glossed over the fact that his clutch was slipping. He had his transmission seals were leaking, and that had made his previously dry clutch into a wet clutch. And we had a guy that helped us source the parts we needed, because on this old bike, none of the BMW dealerships in the US had the parts in stock that we needed. Our buddy found the parts in Virginia. He rode from Pennsylvania to Virginia to fetch the parts. He was on his way to us in Illinois with the parts when he totaled his bike on a deer. No. He left those parts for us in a hotel in West Virginia. We got in my truck, and because we didn't want to put miles on my bike that we weren't traveling together, those are wasted miles as far as Guinness is concerned, drove out to West Virginia, fetched the parts, came back, fixed the clutch. Right, done deal. Never have to worry about that again. No, so that's a story later down the line. So we've already lost a lot of time dealing with the problems that we've had up until this point. And now we're like, what the hell are we going to do? We're going to be down for another week. So we start frantically making calls around town. And this is a town of 600 people. So people start realizing that something is wrong, and people are milling about our storage unit, trying to figure out how they can help and who needs what.
Talk of the town.
Yes. And so another guy that lives a couple towns down that also does endurance riding is I know a guy that he fabbed up my ox tank. He's a NASCAR chassis fabricator.
Ooh.
Let me see if I can get this guy on the phone. So he's trying to raise him up. Can't get him on the phone. He's like, what day is this? It's Sunday. He's on his way to church. I'll be right back. So he goes and intercepts the guy. Intercepts the guy on his way to church on Sunday, the day before 4th of July, and he agrees to make the repairs for us.
Wow.
So this is what Ian was talking about. We had so much good luck in the middle of our bad luck that easily could have had us down.
I like how you see that as the good luck in the middle of the bad luck.
I have a question for you for making the best of luck. So, Ian, do you guys use Airhead Beamer Club or MOA, the BMW MOA or anything like that? Because they have a hell of a network.
Yeah, they do, but I've got an aversion to forums. So,
okay.
I don't generally. How do I put this?
I have a theory.
I've worked in so many places around the world so long where I've been solely reliant on myself, but I actually don't generally.
Okay.
I have a theory
I don't generally get too concerned
about long distance riders like yourselves. you don't really like people that much.
That's not far off. we
It makes a lot of sense.
I mean, the reality is that we had specifically planned to execute this ride as close to under the radar as we could because of our time restrictions.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't want to be, like forced to socialize with people. Like, we don't want to be nice. We just want to be riding. So we hadn't told anybody, like his wife, my husband, and probably half a dozen other people knew that this ride was even going on. So,
well, you want to know something funny, Wendy? When the whole COVID thing hit, Jim and I said, we need to hit the road. We need to get out of here. We went to South Dakota.
Nice.
That's where we went to hide from everyone.
Yeah, we love South Dakota.
And ride the Black Hills.
Yep.
We're
And
real
that's something nice.
sidebar. Ian, can you swivel to the side for a second? Yeah, swivel to the side. Emma, what is that behind him?
I was gonna. Is that a CCM?
What is
No.
that?
So Wendy said I did a 1,000-mile ride in Zambia in Africa.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
That
it's a
is
Harley
a-
that's
Davidson.
the Harley. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
It's an MT. Yeah.
350.
Wow.
So there's a hell of a story to that one too. I did
The machine gun case is the dead giveaway.
yeah. It's still got its side panels. It's still got the ammo box on it. It was sold at the MOD auctions in England, and the guy that I bought it off was a son of some missionaries who went down there in the 40s or 50s, and he just never left. So he's still living down there running his 1,000 bus company, literally. I'm not joking. And every few months he goes to England to buy some more trucks and buses, and he's a Harley Davidson fanatic. So he's got a whole heap of big twins, and he bought 20 of these 350s and took them back, threw them in the back of one of the trucks and took them to Zambia.
Wow.
Anyway, so in this little camp, this mining camp I was living in the back end of Zambia, it was sitting in one of his workers' front yards. Hey, mate, how much you want for that? He told me how much it was. So I'll go and get some cash. So I bought it off him. And then I proceeded to see how far to go in a day. Anyway, so I rode it into the Congo without a visa. I rode through some gardens and back. And then I rode it down to the south of Zambia and back. And I rode it to Victoria Falls. I rode it all over the Northwest Province, which is the area we lived in. I put about 20,000 kilometres on it in 3 years.
Wendy, you live in Harley country. What's that bike worth in South Dakota? What do you think
You can't get it in the U.S.
I know. So what do you think that bike is worth?
Well, so we were like, recently we're like, what's our next adventure going to be? It has to be stupid. It has to be stupider than what we've just done.
Yeah, okay, we're getting to that.
So we started looking into what it would take for me to get another MT350. So we could do a ride on two MT350s side by side. And so anywhere that you could find them, they're like $50,000 and up.
Yeah, like ridiculous.
Crazy. Yeah. So we were like, well, maybe we're going to do them on postie bikes instead.
Well,
Nice.
may I present to you a possible next challenge?
Yes.
And actually, I'm not even going to be the one to present it to you. I'm going to ask Bagel to present the idea to him, to you guys, because he's our guy. He's our scooterist guy. He's also our iron butt guy on what's behind him. Might you ever consider that?
We have long discussed doing the scooter cannonball.
Mm-hmm.
This is
We've done yep.
He did an iron butt
Yeah.
to start the scooter cannonball.
Nice.
To get to the start of the scooter cannonball, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bagel is our long distance guy, and he does it all on Vespas. By choice,
Yeah.
but not just because he's crazy. By choice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, Bagel,
Yep.
there's
Yeah.
guys in Australia done Bunburner Golds, 1,500 miles in 24 hours on scooters down here, eh?
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I've done 48 or 2,000 miles in 48 hours on a GTS 250.
That's hauling ass, man.
Yeah,
Full respect.
thanks. and that's with a breakdown where the fuel injector got clogged. set me back several hours, but got it going again.
Nice.
And thanks to the help of Miss Emma.
Oh, I remember you, yeah, because I was actually riding through an army base, and it blistering hot, and I was sitting by the side of the road, it's so bloody hot, and then the phone went, it's Bagel. So, I mean, the stars aligned for that one, because, of course, if I was on my bike, I wouldn't have taken the call, and I kind of navigated you through clearing up your injector.
So just to wrap up your story, none of these things and none of these events deterred you. Was there any point where you said, let's pack it in?
We have said many times that any smarter two people would have quit long before we did. But no, I mean, this was a once in a lifetime ride. This was Ian's original vision, and why he was so set on doing it on the BMW is this was his swan song for that bike. Like, he has reached the point where he is kind of done with ultra endurance rides in the United States. It was already time for the BMW to kind of be retired, and so he wanted one last big hurrah on this bike before he puts it on a ship to go back to Australia and sit in a museum somewhere. So it was do or die. Like, there's no redoing this on different bikes. That would be a completely different adventure. So there was no point. And we have a ton of video. We had to make a ton of video for Guinness. We had cameras on the bikes and stuff like that. And we have so much video. We have 117 days of us going, BMW's falling apart again. Look at this. We're torn apart. We're sitting on the side of the highway. This is just, and we're just happy to keep fighting the fight. And there was like one day where it was like, holy hell, I don't think this is something we can fix. And then we went and we drank some beers, and the next morning we found a way to fix it. And, it still sucked down 10 days out of our ride, but we found a day. And I think that was that one, we have that one video where you just see some measure of defeat. And the rest of it was like, I can't tell you how many times we said, we got all of our bad luck out of the way early.
So I've got a question for both of you, and I'm going to ask Ian first, and I've got a very good reason for that. So Ian, I mean, you're married. Do you have children?
Yeah. They're both grown up. They live that long. Thank you.
So there you go. So I'm sure you miss being away from your wife, and your wife, I'm sure, misses you. Because, I mean, just on this trip alone, you were away for 6 months, right?
Well, put in perspective, right? So since the mid-90s, I've been away for 2-3 months at a time.
Right. Yeah,
so this trip, while it was a bit longer than normal, it's really, for our family,
it's the norm.
The absence wasn't that unusual.
So I'm going to ask you the same question, Wendy, but it's slightly different, because how old is Montessa now?
She's 8.
God, that's got to be hard. I mean, 6 months out of your child's life at 8 years old.
So we were in Australia. I was in Australia for 6 weeks.
Yes.
And then back in the US. And so we had opportunities to see her half a dozen times through the course of the ride. So I did have opportunities to spend time with her and that type of thing. But we have a similar situation. My husband works in Los Angeles. So he's gone, he does gig work, and he's gone for big chunks of time, and we often swap out. So, if I'm traveling for work or whatever, and it's just what she knows, she's accustomed to dad being gone for a while and then popping back in. And sometimes, mom will be gone for a bit.
Right. And I'm sure she misses her dad and she misses her mom, but I bet she feels queen of the heap when she's sharing these stories in school to a teacher who's never traveled more than 50 miles, and she's been halfway around the world.
Well, I think just this year she's starting to realize, as she's telling these stories about how she went, 3 days into the jungle on a sidecar and was swimming in a waterfall, and people are like, you're full of it. Like, this is the most bizarre story. And that actually happened. And so she's just starting to really fully realize that not all kids grow up in a
Right.
sidecar traveling around the world. So
Probably be a better world if they did, huh?
I'm sure it would be.
yes.
Hey, I have a question. I'm curious. One of our mottos here is live to ride, ride to eat. You traipsing all over the country. Were there any any curious food stories, or would you look forward to dining at a certain diner or restaurant or taco truck or something? What was the eating like?
Mate, I think we ate more grasshopper legs than we ate solid meals.
I was going to say, did you hear how many times I said they slept on the concrete? I mean, these are.
Well, maybe they had a bomb hot dog truck there.
Well,
I don't know.
One thing
So-
I've learned, if you see
so
a bike and
the
a biker
part
on
of-
the ground, it could just be an iron butter. Apparently, that's what they do.
So part of the planning was we were going to stop every day at a Cracker Barrel, because I've stopped at Cracker Barrel once or twice, and I really love the meat and veggie type thing. I have a very plain diet. I like meat and veggie, and I don't really get into all of the exotic stuff. So look, we'll stop at a Cracker Barrel every day. How hard could that be? Well, it turns out in 119 days we never stopped at one.
How funny.
I would say the large majority of days we did not have a meal at all.
Wow.
Exactly.
Take
Wow.
snacking out of a tank bag, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
With the gloves on.
Right.
Yeah.
And that became hard because now that I know I've had the kidney stones, but they don't know what the kidney stones are made of at this point, that eliminates like 3/4 of what I would normally be eating in my tank bag food. And then
Right.
as we're having more and more, delays and mechanical catastrophes and all of this stuff, the time has to come out from somewhere. So as we're trying to keep this pace up, the first thing to go is just like our meal time, and then sleep time starts getting cut back. And then eventually you'll notice that Ian's 90-day visa became a 119-day trip.
Oh, wow.
What was the hottest and coldest riding you were in?
Yeah, this
Because that makes a difference in diet.
Mate. We had one night there early in the piece. We were heading down through Wells, Nevada. I didn't know where Wells, Nevada was at the time, but Wendy said, we cannot stop here. There's a blizzard coming. Well, we were riding in some of the worst rain we'd ever seen. I mean, I've been riding for 40 years, pretty much all over the world, and I've seen some pretty horrific weather. So here we are, heading down through Wells at dark time. It might have been 10, 11, 12. I'm not quite sure when. There was that much rain and that much water laying on the road. The big rigs were overtaking us.
Well, it was sleet is the problem. So it made it really
sleep,
hard to
that's
see
right, yeah.
because, any oncoming headlights made it difficult. But yeah, there was a blizzard warning, so we had to keep riding through it so we didn't get stuck in snow.
Yeah.
And then the hottest temperatures were, in the 120s.
Yep.
But we also had
Just melted us.
like the historic flooding in St. Louis. It was the most flooding that they have on record. We were in St. Louis on that day. They had historic flooding and thunderstorms, like more lightning strikes than have been on record in the last 80 years. We were in Washington, D.C. that day. 3 people got killed like right when we were there.
God. Well, I'm
got
glad
struck by lightning.
We were riding through the lightning storm. Yeah.
I'm glad you got the
There-
bad luck out of the way early.
I tell you what, man. Yeah.
You can come on our next ride.
Oh, yeah, no. It sounds so fun. Yeah.
But
No, no, no.
I
cool.
got a question for you. We're talking about all the things that went wrong, all the hardships. But there's a reason that you guys are long distance riders. There's something about this that you love. And I can relate too, because there are times I've done long distance riding where I don't want to stop riding. I'm disappointed when, I need to stop and get gas, because my comfort place, my happy place is just in the saddle, just with the wind going by. I want to know, like for you, like what was just some of like the greatest moments, the greatest times where you're just in your element?
I'm sure for Wendy, it was seeing a saddlebag overtake her. That's got to be high.
Oh, yeah. There was days there where everything was perfect. Right? The road was just perfect. The weather was just perfect. The sun angles were just perfect. We weren't hungry. We weren't tired. We weren't heat stressed. The bikes were just humming, and the day just blew by. Right? We'd stop 3 times for fuel, and there goes 1,100 miles. And it, I don't know. You got to remember too, there's big chunks of that ride where we were in the worst of weather. So I think sometimes it didn't take that much of a change in the weather to feel like a really perfect day.
Yeah.
be it really, really hot or really, really wet, or somewhere, one of the extremes. We're sort of passing through the extremes, and in the middle is that perfect window, and then you go into the other extreme of weather, and then you're coming back to go to the other extreme, and in the middle is just that nice
Perfect
little
got
bit.
bigger, you're saying.
And
Yeah.
so, and is that the moment? Is that the reason you do this?
Let me tell you about the moment that sticks out for me. And this is, I know I've said it before with relation to a bunch of rides, but when I just love being on the bike. I love being on the bike all the time because there's these moments in the world, in life, whatever it is, the most beautiful thing you come across or some odd circumstance that you only happen to cross paths with that because you were on the bike in that moment. And so it's those moments that you can't just recreate. You cannot go to that space again and have that same thing happen. And for me, what it was is we were heading south through Missouri, and we had been keeping really hard time all day long because there was 2 storms coming together, and these storms had kind of met up, and it looks like Pac-Man, and we're in Pac-Man's mouth, and it's getting ready to close around us. So it's not looking like we're going to clear this storm. And it is like nonstop lightning. There's no rain yet, but in the distance, it's the middle of the night, and it's like daylight, just nonstop, beautiful, like cloud to cloud lightning all over the place. And then on the road beside us in the ditches, all of a sudden, like light up, just like a bazillion fireflies start lighting up on the road beside us. So the road is just glowing as we're riding down in the middle of the night. And I'm like, oh, Man's like, you're a moron. And I'm like, stop it. And then off in the distance somewhere, there's fireworks start going off. Wow. And it's just like the convergence of like these 3 amazing things. I don't make any effort to see fireworks in my normal life, but I feel like I've won some stupid little lottery when I see fireworks going off when I'm riding in the middle of the night. It's just one of those things. It's just kind of, and I'm like, these 3 just beautiful little things all converge all together. And I'm just like, I just want to soak it up. Just so stunning. And there's no way you could set out to make that moment happen again. So that was what it was for me, was just like all of those miles. And I was rewarded with this, So
we did 100,000 miles, close enough. And the mile that I really, really, really enjoyed the most was actually in Queensland before we went to the States. We rode in this place called Cloncurry, and we rode in at sunset. Now, out there is no artificial light. There's nothing out there. There's one town every 3-4 hours. And we were riding into the reddest and yellowest and most orange, perfect sunset that you have ever seen. And we were in that.
Oh no, he froze up again.
Oh, yep.
Was just so glad that I was able to show that to Wendy, because you're never going to be able to replicate that. Mm-hmm. And, in places like that and places like out on the Great Australian Bike, you really get the essence of Australia because it's raw nature, just beautiful.
Nice. So I want to say what's next, but you know what? I mean, this is in you. You're going to have a what's next. It may not be that big. It doesn't have to be that big. You guys are long distance riders. This is what you love doing. So you're just going back to the standard of doing like iron butt rallies and just going and riding long distance for fun. Just is that what you're doing, or do you think you got another big thing in you?
So we spent our last 3 weeks lapping Area 51 at 85 or 90 miles an hour a day. And we come across these little tiny signs. What was one of them called, Wendy? Not Montgomery.
And there was like Manhattan.
Manhattan. Mm-hmm. We go, oh, yeah. We're flying past this sign for 3 weeks at 85 miles an hour. Oh, we've got to go up there. We're like a dog hanging out the window, looking at a bone. Oh, we've got to go up there. Anyway, our last day, we finally stopped and went up there. And we started saying, we've got to get like a couple of DR650s that we can't sit on for more than an hour and do something that stops us from going anywhere, basically, and just enjoy a nice slow ride.
I didn't realize they don't have ghost towns in Australia to speak of. So it was
not
Belmont.
The way you have them.
Yeah, it was Belmont, the town, on our final day out there that we're just going to take the time to go up there. And Ian, twice on the course of this trip, Ian said, take your helmet off. This is going to be a while. And Belmont was one of those. And then another time in the middle of Nebraska, we saw a steam-powered tractor. And both of those, he was just like a little kid. He's like, if I had a box of beer
Totally.
24 hours, I would be in heaven. So, yeah, it would be awesome if we could get a small bike that would keep us no auxiliary fuel
No
and
lights.
just explore some of those places. Yeah.
Nice. So it sounds like just adventuring is in you. And you guys finished this up, but did it just get officialized as the Guinness World Record?
Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago, yeah.
So you're going to be in
It
the,
took 4 months.
you're going to be in the book?
They don't put everybody in the book, apparently, but they do a selection of people. But we are on the website, and hopefully we'll be in the book. That'd be cool.
Well, congratulations on that.
Wonderful achievement.
I mean, what
awesome.
what a story. I mean, all the planning and still the perseverance, I think more so than that. But just the moment you're describing with the fireflies and the fireworks, I'm like, yes, I get it. That's it. There are these moments, and that makes it all worth it. And it makes it less crazy. And, you know, for people who don't get it, you seem like you're crazy, but people who get it, it's like, yes.
You know, when you pull up at a car park on the top of a mountain range, and there's just a general rest area, and there's mums and dads and their kids running around, and they all have a stretch, and they're all looking down that valley with a sunset or a sunrise or a beautiful day on it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be a motorcyclist to enjoy that. And we enjoyed stuff like that all day, every day. I mean, I can't even recall how many nice vistas we saw as we rolled over a hill around a corner while we cranked over on one foot peg or the other. But it was just those snapshots of Australia and those snapshots of America. And I mean, we spent 3 days riding around, 2.5 days riding around Tasmania with a friend of ours down there who's also an iron rally finisher, nearly the oldest woman. I think she's the second oldest woman to finish them, Margaret. And we saw, for 5 months, we saw a movie that no one else would ever see. And it was just fantastic.
Nice. Well, I really want to thank you guys for coming on and sharing your story. That I'm guessing we're going to get more and more bits and pieces out of you guys as more of it comes up. And hopefully, maybe, Wendy, we can get you out to AMA Vintage Days.
It's
this
in the
summer.
works.
It is? Good.
Oh, good.
Yep.
Because
Nice.
we are all going to be there.
Well, unfortunately, I won't. I shall be.
What?
You won't.
I will be in the Dolomites.
That's where I first met Wendy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you remember? I remember.
Really?
Was I
Vintage
there?
Motorcycle Days.
You may have been. So she was speaking right before me, and I went in the tent to go set up. And I just looked at her, and I'm like, have we met before? She just looked familiar to me, just like somebody I've known.
Was that when I was unconscious?
You might have been unconscious under the bus from the gin and pickles.
We did poke you with a stick, though. That's for sure.
Yeah, we just sat there and like, I don't know, you kind of look familiar. And like, yeah, I just realized like, we didn't know each other, but I think recognized
It's that commonality.
That commonality. Yeah. Exactly.
We do now.
Exactly. So,
Nice.
and tell you what, if you want to do something stupid, I have the perfect stupid bike out there for you to do stupid stuff on.
Oh God!
Yes.
Excellent.
I have
what
just
is
like
What
Ian
is
has
it?
a bike that he lives over here. I have bikes that live in other places. In fact, I have a KLR I keep in Custer for riding the Black Hills, and then I have a Benelli TNT 135 with a sidecar in Ohio just for vintage days.
Awesome.
Yeah,
It's like an off-road
Yes.
sidecar, though.
Yeah,
it's
it's
an
like,
off-road
it's
bike.
like expanded metal and welded. And
yeah.
You
Yeah.
ride the bike, I'll sit in the sidecar because that's where the beer will be, Wendy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, might we get Ian out there for vintage days?
Well,
Oh,
I've got a concern about Ian, darling. You're in Australia.
Yeah,
What time is it in Australia?
it's tomorrow.
it's 1:45, so it's 12:47 on Monday,
on Monday.
lunchtime-ish. Lunchtime, yeah.
the future's now.
And how many beers are you in so far? So it's not.
So my beer fridge is called Bruce. Just let me have the
Get
first
a name.
So how many times have
we
you
actually
visited Bruce before lunch?
We discussed it ahead of time that we were going to be very, very good boy and girl, and we were not going to start drinking when we started walking him through his Zoom setup. That we were not. We were only going to start cracking beers. Yeah. Otherwise,
Well, that went by the bloody wayside quickly, didn't it?
yes.
17 oil cans
It's like
later.
not speeding with a broken frame. It's irrelevant.
Cheers.
Well, Ian, I hope I get to meet you at some of these events or rallies that we happen to frequent as well, and I'd love to get even more stories out of you.
Well, I mean, is he allowed back in the States? Sounds like he overstayed his visa.
I know.
So,
Did not.
no,
he did
so
not
what-
overstay as we
no.
another story.
So that is a story in itself. What happened was, because we were running out of days, how long do we have left? 5 minutes?
Quickly.
Yeah,
Quick.
quickly.
Do the quick version.
So what happened was, a lot of people put a lot of work in to decide that we had to fly to Dallas to fly back into Dallas via Belize. Now, I didn't know where Belize was. They said, get in the plane, go there. So I bought a ticket, went there. When I got down there, I looked it up on Google Maps, found out where it was. Then I flew back to Dallas, pled my case with the bloody immigration officer who looked at me and went, yeah, I don't know. I think your story is so unreal. I think it's real. Give me another 90 days.
So in the middle of our ride, Ian had to fly to Belize.
Nice.
Gosh.
He's a
Wow.
renewed.
Oh my word. Well,
Never say die.
Exactly. Never give up. We came up with a line somewhere in one of our videos, and it sums up everything perfectly, right? The only thing that didn't break is our spirit.
yeah.
Nice.
There you go. A movie in the making.
So can we? Can we be looking forward to a book, a movie, anything? Is there going to be anything coming out of this?
We're working on both, so we'll see.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
He's got that look on his face, like can't really talk about it, but nice.
Well, to be fair, Wendy has done 99% of this work, and I've just kind of been over here chucking
Smile
my
and
bits.
nod.
Awesome.
I've been chucking my bits into the book as italics, because Wendy writes in straight up and down font, whatever that's called, and I put it in italics so we can both tell where the. But Wendy picks me up on the grammar and the fact that I'll put 500 words in one sentence, so she knows where to stop and start.
Nice. Well, we are going to wrap up. We've got a couple emails to read. I wanted to thank you guys again for coming on and sharing your story. I was so excited when I saw the news come out. I'm like, what? That is so
great.
awesome. I didn't know
thanks,
what you were
guys.
up to. I knew that you had been traveling with your daughter. I always knew that Wendy's doing something. She's always doing something
Yeah.
interesting.
Oh, I was checking
Yep.
out the website and all
Yeah.
the stuff. You are a busy person. It is
Right.
pretty cool, all the stuff you have going on.
Yeah. Do either of you have a plug you want to share? Do you have a podcast or something you hawk or sell?
We don't hawk or sell anything, but we would like to say thank you to MC Cruz and Inov. We didn't get any sponsorship or anything that we sought out for this ride. We wanted it to be strictly off, on our own terms. But we did run both of us had Inov dash cam systems that we set up to have like a cockpit cam and a forward facing cam that worked great. And then we did some, I always sold MC Cruises in my shop. And so they actually dug way back into their reserves to take new parts and put them together to make a new cruise control system for wicked old bikes, which was very cool of them to do for our giant
Nice.
rides. So thank you to both of those guys. They were awesome.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Without Inov, we would never have a video
A movie in
record
the
of what we
works.
did.
Yeah.
And the K5 that we used was just rock solid
Nice.
all the way through.
Well, I can't wait to hear more. Thank you once again for coming. Ian, you can go drinking now.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
All right.
Thanks. Good,
There you
good
go.
talking to you guys.
Good
job.
All right.
Thanks.
Ciao,
Cheers.
guys. Ciao.
Isn't that crazy? Just crazy.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
well,
Crazy.
wonderful guests. So interesting.
And I would bet when they finish these long rides, when they get off, like it's about 5 minutes later, you're like, I think I want to get back on the bike again. You know, that can be like the last few hours of a long
Could
ride.
be.
You're like, I can't wait to get off the bike. And as soon as you do, you're like, I could get back on.
And I'm just wondering, Bagel, were you inspired? Were you like, alphabetical order states?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I
there
can
were
see
some
it.
gears turning in my head.
Hasn't been done.
Sounds like a
But-
great idea.
I don't think it has.
I was reminded over and over again, one of the greatest attributes you can have for something like that is a sense of humor.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Good
I mean,
point. Yeah.
you have to approach it with some degree of ridicule because it is so ridiculous. and being able to see the fun in it, even when you're riding a bike with a broken frame that's folding itself in half.
Sparking along the ground.
Yeah, we're going to get to the emails real quick. Just wanted to give an update. Come to our rally, breakingawaytrips.com. Scott, you're coming. Ray, you're coming. We're all going to be there. Jim and I are working on the challenge course.
The challenge.
The challenge course. And Ray, you've done the challenge course at Jocelyn's. So we're coming up with our own version
Well, what's
of
fun,
a challenge course to set up so people can do it on their own bikes.
and you can do it on a bike as small as Freya just got her new PW50, so you can do it on that, or you
Little
can
bike
do it
or
on a
a
big
big bike.
GSA. So they'll all be little skill building games and fun shenanigans that we can
Yeah,
do.
we're
Very
having
nice.
a lot of
But
fun.
I will. I'm actually going to bring Rufus out for that. And
You
I know-
shouldn't.
Well,
Ooh.
no, because we're doing street
Then
rides.
again, yeah, it's the best bike you got. Okay.
Well, it's one of the bikes I've got.
It's the, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I want to get to some emails real quick. Bagel, you have one queued up?
I do.
And Jim, you have one you're paraphrasing,
I
right?
do.
You want to do that one real quick?
Yeah, sure, we can knock it out.
It's very long, so he's just kind of paraphrasing.
Yeah, so no offense to our good friend Jack.
Hey, Jack.
Martin. Hey, Jack, what's happening? He wrote a really great long email, but just for the sake of time, I'm going to condense it. So anyway, I will read the first part, though. Folks, I came across your website when I found your interview with Todd Huffman.
Yeah.
And if you remember, Todd had done the John Penton documentary,
Yeah, which we loved.
which if you
Right.
haven't
Yeah.
seen, you definitely should. Shame on you, but it's a really a brilliant movie. Great American tale. And anyway, he was the attorney from Texas who suggested to Todd that the Penton story of ingenuity, tragedy, dogged persistence, and family values needed to be told. And he
Yeah.
said he was the man to do it. So anyway, he kind of gave him the impetus for
And
it.
those are all the reasons I loved it. It's a good story, but the Penton family is so fascinating. And because of this movie and Todd,
Yes.
when I was at Vintage Days, Todd introduced me to the Pentons, and I got to have lunch with them.
that is so
And it
cool. You
meant
got the
even
signed name of
more
it.
Yeah.
to me. Yeah, well, it's behind the Barbie.
Yeah, the number
but
plate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how
So
cool.
the Penton story, great. Yeah, so he helped out with everything from driving to fundraising and all this kind of cool stuff. And and the whole Lyle Levitt connection. So he narrates the movie if you haven't seen it, and his sultry voice and his background in motorcycle maintenance was kind of cool to find out as well. So great movie if you haven't seen it. And then the music he also referenced in there, a woman named Sarah, I'm going to butcher the name, Jarosz or something like that, Jarosz, who has since gone on to win numerous awards, Grammys and all that kind of stuff. So really cool. So yeah, Jack was just stoked to hear about the podcast and wrote in, but really neat backstory on how the movie was made. And let's see.
Yeah, and thank you for your input. You found the right guy to do it. Todd did a great job, and it is a very good movie. The John Penton
Penton
story.
story.
Jim and I watched it. We loved it.
Yeah, I was when we first saw it, I hadn't seen it before. I was really surprised you don't hear more about it. But yeah, definitely a top
But
5 or 3
if you want to
movie.
know where KTM motorcycles come from,
Well, there's so much there to the old endurance racing they would do, like in the New Jersey Pine Barrens. And I think there's a great picture of John Penton with his face all kind of smashed open, blood coming everywhere. He's going through a checkpoint and off he goes. But anyway, yeah, right
So,
on.
thank you. I have one from Sam. Sam says, "Hey, Misfits, on the last show, Liza said that chrome is just for aesthetics. We were talking about how did you hear by 2035 they want to make chroming illegal in California? And I've always said, for really good chrome, people had to die, right? So, so they want to get rid of chrome in here. He says, so you said that chrome are just for aesthetics. I don't think that's true. Motorcycle forks are chrome plated. I assume this is done for the same reason that hydraulic cylinders on heavy machinery is plated in chrome. It's smooth, so it doesn't tear up the seals, and it has a pretty good weather resistance, even when used on big tractors and excavators that spend their working lives exposed to the weather. Polished stainless does the same thing, and it's not chrome. Chrome is aesthetic.
Is that what they use on those hydraulic rams for loaders and things? Is that
Yeah.
chrome? Is it really?
Yes, but it's a plating. It's just cheaper than using, say, polished stainless.
Yeah, okay.
Or what was the other one? When you have the colored coatings.
Anodized?
Yeah, like there are other forms. I do hold strong that it is aesthetic, but it is also more affordable than, say, stainless. He says, question for Miss Emma.
Hello, darling.
Tell me why
Yes.
are motorcycles so clean and oil tight? My Japanese bikes have lovely engines that look new even after years of use. What changed from, say, the old Harleys or automobiles of decades past where oil would seep from all the seals and gaskets of the engines of the day?
Oh, God, there's a variety of reasons for that. And one, I'm just going to highlight one.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. Most Japanese bikes are wet sump design, which basically means that the oil is kept in the bottom of the engine. When you start the engine, the oil pump sucks the oil from the bottom and pumps it around the engine, and everything's hunky-dory and lovely. A Harley-Davidson and an English bike, whether it's BSA, Norton, or a Triumph, are a dry sump system, which means that the oil is carried in a bag, in a tank, higher than the engine. Now, there are a lot of advantages of having an oil tank because the level's not quite so critical as in an oil wet sump system. But the big problem, and this is what I'm coming to with oil retention, is gravity inevitably does its thing. And over a period of 3 or 4 days, sometimes a week, all the oil that was in the tank navigates to the bottom of the engine through gravity. And when you start it up, in effect, there is far too much oil in the bottom of the engine, and something's got to give, and it can come out of any tiny orifice in the engine. It's going to leak like crazy. And that's one of the reasons. You add in better machining.
Yeah, metallurgy.
Better
milling.
Metallurgy, just better design.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no reason that engines shouldn't be completely oil tight now. And, Honda's a great example. Even Honda Cruisers. Honda haven't used any gaskets in their engines now for years. Wow. If you pull a VT 750 apart, there's no gaskets in it. It's all mating surfaces and goo, which is great from my perspective, because if you want to do a clutch in a shadow, you don't have to buy a clutch cover gasket, because there isn't one. It's just gooed on.
Slap a little goo on there.
Yeah, they've gotten so good. But in my opinion, one of the major reasons that British bikes leaked so much and Harleys leaked so much, the early ones, is that you'd always have this wet sump condition. You'd fire them up, and the oil had to go somewhere. I mean, eventually it'd get back into the oil tank and continue its normal cycle. But for that first minute, it's going to find a hole. And believe me, when it's found a hole to go out, you ain't going to plug that hole up.
What's funny is I think you've also described Stumpy John's problem.
Well, Stumpy John, yes, has a variety of problems, but usually there's far too much liquid sloshing around inside of him.
And it finds a hole.
And it finds any available hole that comes out.
All right, I think we have time for one more. You guys are going to hold on to your emails. We'll save them next week. But Bagel, you have one there to share.
Bagler.
I do. I have one from Chad Butler.
Chad.
Hey, Chad.
Is it hanging Chad?
Or maybe pregnant Chad. I don't know.
Okay, very good.
but Chad writes, "Hello, Misfits. I'm writing in regards to your helmet/organ donor debate. I appreciate that you all seem to support the reasonable practice of wearing a helmet. I also support wearing a helmet, though, like those freedom-loving folks at the AMA, I don't agree that helmet usage should be legislated. I agree with legislating eye protection, as lack of eye protection could become the cause of an accident, which could affect other drivers, pedestrians, etc. The devil and I are good pals. And although I disagree with a lot of your viewpoints, I'll often offer up whatever good/bad ideas he has to offer, as sometimes the most reasonable voices and opinions can be contrary to public opinion. So, helmets are a good idea because they can protect us in the event that we crash. However, doesn't it seem to make better sense to aim our legislative efforts at preventing crashes rather than crash assistance? A common factor in crashing includes alcohol, which could be addressed with a zero tolerance rather than a legal limit. Motorcyclists who have any amount of alcohol in their system could face, as a preventative measure, suspension or loss of their endorsement, license, or motorcycle." Another factor is speed, and there could be a number of ways to address this issue. One would be to institute higher fines for motorcycles. Another would be to have slightly lower speed limits for motorcycles, similar to the lower speed limits we often see for semis. A third approach would be to require manufacturers to install a chip in new bikes that could communicate to transponders on speed limit signs so that motorcycles would have a reactive speed limit filter that would automatically keep us at or below posted speed limits.
Okay, hold on. I got to jump in at this point.
This is a.
I got to jump in.
wear a helmet.
We're almost done. Let me just finish up.
He said he's being devil's advocate.
Like I said,
Yeah. Go ahead, Bagel.
like I said, these aren't my ideas, and I don't support them, but they all seem to make better sense to me than helmet laws and could be good points for debate. Liza, what were you going to say?
What I was going to say, in general, I think that motorcycle speed limits should be 10 miles higher than posted speed limits because motorcyclists can navigate anything a car can 20 miles faster an hour at the same ease. Going slower makes you a target to other cars. So
I agree.
Let's take that one off the table. And then the drinking, I don't know how many accidents are a result of drinking. All the people I know who were in accidents, it had nothing to do with alcohol.
Yeah.
But it had to do with road conditions, bike conditions, and other drivers.
It was only
usually.
one gin and tonic.
I'm just
darling.
saying. I think that's such a small percentage. Yes, I do not advocate rioting and drinking. So, but I would take that off the table. I think it is such a small. And if whatever you apply to a motorcyclist, you should also apply to a car driver too.
Yes, and
Right.
I was going to
That's
say
what it says.
that is
And
the
a truck
large,
driver and a bus driver and a bicyclist. You know?
and that is the larger point that we're all missing. Any law that says for motorcyclists is inherently a bad law because we're being targeted.
Right, because it's singling out a specific group for that law alone.
Exactly.
When laws should apply to everyone equally.
Right.
Yes.
So if you want to have a zero tolerance policy for alcohol, on the road, then have it apply to cars and buses and trucks and everything. Why not? Why should that apply just to motorcyclists? So I agree with you, Liza, and Emma, that I'm not sure those are the remedies. It's interesting thought for debate. But let me finish up Chad's email. He says on another note, I'll be happy to see you at the One Motor Show coming up in Portland.
Yay.
Hopefully nobody drops off an envelope of dick pics again. Such poor taste. Once again, the devil made me or someone do it. Hail Satan. Ride fast to take chances. Chad Butler, Scioto, Oregon.
P.S.
P.S. Bagel is my favorite misfit. He's hardcore, intelligent, well-spoken, and polite. A true role model. Well, thank you, Chad.
This is why you never get dick punched, Bagel.
Well, I thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that, Liza. And my dick appreciates that, too.
Well, there we go. Another show. What do you guys think? It was so great for Wendy and Ian to come. I want especially for him to come from tomorrow.
Yeah.
Onto the show.
Time travel.
He's
time
got
travel.
so many stories. We could have gone.
Oh, they both have
Oh, my
crazy
God. Oh, yeah.
stories.
We should get them back for more stories later, I think.
I agree.
Because there's some good stuff there, I have no doubt.
Yeah, but I think that there's some good lessons there. And like I was saying, now, I mean, my takeaway is if you see a biker lying down on the road, it might just be one of them napping.
It may well be. But you need to
Been
check
there,
them
done
for
that.
death.
Yeah.
Poke them with a stick.
Them, yeah.
Poke 'em with a stick.
Unless they're
bike
very
is upright,
bloated, then you don't.
If you see them napping, the bike is upright, they're fine. Don't worry. Just keep going.
That's the Iron
Yeah.
Butt Hotel. They call
If the
it.
bike's on its side, then there's a problem.
Yeah, I know. So you guys, we're heading out of town soon.
Yeah, Vegas, baby.
Yeah,
Viva Las
Vegas.
Vegas.
We'll be safe.
Yeah. But we will be back.
Be safe in the petri dish out there.
Thank you. We'll be back next Sunday.
Yep.
We'll be doing the show and throwing in some of the interviews we get
Right.
at AIM Expo, which I'm looking forward to. And also just, I think that this is going to be a good gauge of how the industry is changing. So, we'll have some stories. I think that's it. Thank you, Scott and Ray, for coming down and joining us. Ray, you wrote up on something new today.
Well, relatively new, a few months old.
Yeah. Tell everyone what it is.
Oh, it's a Vespa 300 GTS.
Hey,
So nice.
I was
Excellent.
infected by bagel.
It's
Awesome.
a beautiful
I'm
color
glad-
too. It's almost
glad
like a
to spread
sherbet
the disease.
or a sunrise.
it's a Vespa. I thought it was a pumpkin.
It turns into a pumpkin at midnight, Lisa. No, I had no
Very
choice. It was
cool.
a used one, I didn't have a choice in the color. So, I struggled with it. But I kind of grows
I like
on
it.
me.
I like
know,
it.
It's grown on
No,
me.
I like
Nice
it.
and visible.
Exactly.
Enjoy it.
All right, so on that note, I think we're ready to get out of here. Go to motorcyclesandmisfits.com. You'll find links to everything there. You can find our schedule of events where we're going to be. And you can also buy T-shirts there. And one other thing I want to ask everyone, if you have not yet, could you please leave a review on Patreon or whatever listening device you use. It helps other people find us as well. You guys ready to get out of here? Let's do it. Thanks, everybody. This is Liza.
Emma, darling.
Ray.
Scott.
Naked Jim, son.
Bagel.
And we are out of here.
Cool.